What's going on, everybody? We are super excited for our first ever official podcast together. We're going to be talking about some exciting things, how to make some money while we travel. Does that sound exciting?
You seem excited.
I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited as I am to be here. We're super excited to have you all here. We'll just go ahead and get started. If you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and clicking subscribe down below. Give us a thumbs up so we can produce some more content for y'all. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. What's the topic of conversation today?
What are we doing today?
Topic of conversation today is making money while you travel. So,
hold on. Forget the questions. Don't worry about questions. Why is this important?
Yeah.
How did this all come to be?
What, this podcast?
This podcast. How did this come to be?
This podcast came to be because Hey Smarby.
Yeah. The traveling. How did that come to be? Putting your house on Airbnb.
We travel a lot. So why not let somebody else enjoy the comfort of our home while we're on vacation?
So what was it, last year? Last October, or last 2020, it was either April of 2020. We were going to go to a trip to Utah. And at that point, we already had a couple Airbnbs. And you had the idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You had the idea to say, why don't we just put our house on Airbnb while we're gone? And I was like, it's a good idea, right? We already had all the tools. We were already on Airbnb. And so Katie went and took some pictures, and she used our other listing description and basically put it up there, changed a little bit of verbiage to make it so that people understood that it was our personal home. So there's some little things that go into it. And she listed it on Airbnb, and like a day or two later, we got booked, right? And do you remember how much money I made?
I think it was like a 3-night trip, and it was almost $400.
Yeah. I was like, interesting, right? It was just like a kind of a random thought that we did. We already had Airbnb set up, so it was relatively easy for us. And so we did it, and when we got back, what happened?
Our house was clean. It was actually ready for us to come home, and there was money in the bank account.
Yeah, it was weird, right? So we're like, well, this is kind of cool, because again, we have other Airbnbs, and usually they don't leave them clean. Our cleaning crew can be a testament to that. And so we were half expecting it to be a disaster, but it turned out really, really nice. And so then we did it again. And then I think the next time it was on like a weekend trip. And that trip was actually free because we just like went to my mom's house, who lives about 3 hours north of us. We stayed at her house, and we made a couple $100 outside of gas money. And we're like, we put a couple $100 in our pocket, right? And then ever since then, every time we leave, we put our house. We unblock it. So the way that we do it, we actually have it up there. We just have it blocked off, and then when we know we're going to travel, we set dates. Then we unblock it, and then people are able to book it, right? So that's kind of how it all came to be. It was very organic. It wasn't something that was necessarily like super planned, but because we already had systems in place, and Katie had a great idea of like, why don't we just try this? That's how we've been doing it. So without further ado, I'm sure you guys have lots of questions. And in fact, I know you guys have lots of questions, because every time we tell people this, they always have like these limiting beliefs. They always have these excuses of why they don't want to do it. So Katie, please, all the questions that people give us, let's go ahead and let's ask them.
Yeah, I think you actually already touched on this one. So why the heck would you put your house on Airbnb while you're out of town?
Yeah. Unless you hate money, that's pretty much it. That's the only reason that I would personally not put my home on Airbnb.
Awesome. Fear. So will they leave my home a disaster?
Yeah. How many times have you came home and your home's been a disaster?
0. We have a couple other short-term rentals, and honestly, they leave our primary home in better condition than any of our other short-term rentals. They know it's our primary home, so I feel like they take better care of it. So yeah, none. Nobody will destroy your stuff.
And here's the thing, if they do, right, there's always a chance. Just because that doesn't happen to us doesn't mean it's not going to happen to you. So if it does happen, when you put on Airbnb, they have insurance. And so if they do break something, they do like the people who are in there, if they cause damage, you can put a claim through Airbnb. And what they're going to have you do is they're going to ask you to try to resolve it with the guest first. And if you can't resolve it, then Airbnb will basically want all your documentation, and they'll decide whether it's basically a valid claim or not. And we've had to do this one time, and guess what? We won. Airbnb paid us the deposit or the damage amount, and it was all taken care of. So outside of that, like if you have like something personal and very valuable to you, and something that you like absolutely do not want to get destroyed, or something that you say you can't replace it with money, put it somewhere else, right? And we actually will tell you that here in a second. But you basically just put it in a place where the guests don't have access to, whether that's a room, whether it's a closet, whether it's a safe, whether it's a garage.
Yes.
You basically just put there is a spot where we always tell people to put your stuff that cannot be replaced.
And just to clarify, the Airbnb claim that we actually had to submit and Airbnb paid us out was not on our primary residence. That was on another short-term rental.
Yeah.
We have not had to do anything on our primary residence because every single guest that's ever stayed has always left it in, I swear, better condition than when we left.
Yeah.
They're very clean and very tidy. Next question. What do I do with all of my clothes?
Yeah. You wear them all. That's what you do. I mean, you literally just stick them all on, and then you pack whatever you can't fit on you on the airport or on the airplane into your suitcase. That's what you do.
No. You don't have to do that. If you're in Montana, it's understandable you do layer, but in reality, what do you do with your clothes?
We just leave them, to be honest with you. We just leave it. Again, if you have a spare room, you can put all your clothes in there if you want to. We have a couple who we help them do this, and they just block their closet off. And so what you'll realize is that most people who are traveling, depends on how long the stay is, they don't necessarily need a closet or even care for a closet, or it's not going to be something that they're going to put as a negative review. So yeah, it's personal choice. We just literally leave all of our stuff right in the closet. We just take what we want. That's it.
Yes, and a very important part we actually learned from a guest is to leave a space for the guest. So the closet is obviously full of all of our clothes, but if you put one of those travel suitcase stands so they can put their suitcase on it, it helps them out a lot. It's obviously not definitely not necessary, but it's a nice bonus for them because then they feel like they have space to put their things.
Yeah. Hey, and if you guys are watching this, you like what you're hearing, I can't really see you right now, so I'm sure you guys are watching this on YouTube, maybe not watching on Facebook, but just tell me where you're watching this at, because I'm not really sure what's going on. I think a lot of people come from Facebook, that's what it looks like on there. If you're coming on Facebook or YouTube, let us know where you're coming from, just curious more than anything. And hopefully you guys are breaking something from your beliefs. So what's the next question, Katie?
Yeah, what do I do with my food?
Yeah, man, you guys should make them like a treat, make them a pie, make them dinner, right on there what it is, like the macros on there if you want to get real crazy. We usually leave whatever's left in there, so we have a general idea when we're going on a trip how much food we need, so we'll plan out for the grocery store, and so we'll eat as much of it as we can, but other than that, we just leave whatever's left in the fridge, and that's pretty much it.
We do kind of scoot it to the back and the side, so it does feel like they have space.
Yep.
And then pantry items, we definitely push to the very back. But seriously, sometimes we leave cookies. Like if my grandma brings us cookies right before a trip, I do leave a couple out and leave a nice note.
With the macros on it.
Without the macros on it, those are for us.
Yeah. So people don't care. Again, they understand from the listing. In the listing, maybe this is the most important piece. In the listing, you're totally upfront saying this is our personal home, right? We rent it out when we travel. We want to give people an opportunity to live in our home. That's what we say in our listing. So people expect that, right? And they generally like it because there's seasonings, there's sauces, there's all sorts of things that you wouldn't get in a normal Airbnb that you have to go buy yourself. So people end up liking it, and people don't ever eat our food, but people always leave food.
That they do. The kids love that.
Yeah, crap that we never would buy.
And I personally learned this the hard way. So initially I put, my normal 2 paragraphs of the description of the home. And then in the last paragraph I put, this is our primary residence. After one guest, he was like, after he left a review, he was like, the place was clean, but this was like their personal house. I don't think he actually read through the entire description. So I put that in the very first thing that they read is this is our primary house. So they know up front, it's like everything's transparent, everything's straightforward.
Yeah.
They know that that's our primary residence.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What do I do with all my pictures?
Yeah, again, this is where it's totally up to you. Again, if you just put it up in your, if you make that upfront contract with somebody, just tell them like this is our personal home, they expect it. We used to, when we had pictures up, we used to put it in the spare room, and now we just don't even have pictures up anymore because that's just our style. We just like planned in because we travel so much, so we don't want to have to like keep taking down pictures and putting them back up. So we just like took all the pictures down and we just replaced it with more neutral like artwork and things like that. Really simple stuff.
Awesome.
So, pretty simple.
You touched on this one a little bit already, but what do I do with my valuables?
Yeah. So depending on what it is, right? Like if you have like guns and things like that, like put them in a safe, put them in a gun cabinet, take the lock with you. Money, safe. If you have like certain things that maybe aren't like safe size, you can lock them in a room. So you can put them in a room, you can lock them. That's what we do. We have a 3-bedroom home, but we only rent out 2 of our bedrooms. Like we say that our home is a 2-bedroom. And then 1 bedroom, which is our youngest daughter's room, we just lock all of our stuff inside there, right? So we use that as kind of a storage closet. Again, if you have a garage or something like that, or you have a storage shed, you can always use that. So we just block off 1 room, and we just tell them it's a 2-bedroom. So that's how we take care of the valuables. But definitely take it with you, or put it in the safe, or put it to where the guests can't get to it. That way, it's just out of sight, out of mind, and your peace of mind, most importantly. So
Awesome.
Cool.
How the heck do they get in? How do I give them a key?
How do we get in? Yeah, so the only reason you'd ask this question is if you didn't have a door code on your home. So this is going to be the one thing that you probably like. If you don't have just have a regular key, you have to upgrade to a keypad or some sort of alarm or some sort of way that you can get access to your house. Because outside of that, you're not going to want to give them a key. It's just a pain in the butt. So that's the one suggestion I'm making. You go $100 down to Lowe's and you can get a door. What's that called? Like a pin pad door pad.
It's like a schlog.
Yeah, it's like a schlog, and it's less than $100. Super easy to install, and that's the way to do it. Again, if you got a fancy one, then you can always unlock it from your phone. But that's what you need.
Awesome. How to handle local bookings. If I'm gone for a week's period of time, over 2 weekends, somebody books the first weekend, somebody books the second, how does it turn over?
Yeah, so if you rent out your home for like longer periods of time, and you're going to have multiple guests in between, let's say you're gone for 2 weeks, and you're going to have 2 guests, right, and you've gone the entire time, you're going to need to find someone to clean your property, and you're also going to need somebody to do the laundry, or just have extra sheets. So definitely find a cleaning crew. Find somebody who can come in. So always give them a day in between. So if you have the first guest coming in for 4 days and then have a break and then have the next guest coming in for the next 10 days, whatever it is, have a day in between and then make sure that you have a cleaning crew set up that they come in there and they can get the place cleaned for you while you're gone. Have an extra set of sheets. You have to buy extra sheets for all your beds. That way they don't do laundry. So they're going to take the sheets and you can have them put them in your laundry room if you want to. And then the cleaning crew will put the new sheets on. And that's what you would do if you just have a 1 turnover. What if you have 2 turnovers, Katie?
You duplicate the process. Buy 2 sets of sheets.
Buy 2 sets of sheets, right? What if you have 3?
3! Or what we do is we actually have a local laundry service that does pick up. So we have our cleaners actually bag it up and put it in the basement, and then the laundry service actually comes down to the basement, picks it up, and takes it to the laundry service to service it. And then they actually return it as well. Key tip, though, is stuff happens in life, and cleaners do get sick and they can't show up. So have a backup cleaner just in case. Most times, somebody can show up, but there's that one time when you're across the country and your house can't get turned over and you're, in a crappy situation.
Yeah, always have backup cleaners.
Backup cleaners.
So sure.
Awesome. How do I list my home on Airbnb?
I actually have another video on my YouTube where I walk you through the step-by-step process of actually how to list your home on Airbnb. It's rather simple, but if you've never done it, it might seem daunting because you just never done it before. So go to my YouTube, and there's a video. It is called "How to List Your Home on Airbnb." I know.
So creative.
I'm very creative. I'm in the creative finance mentorship. So yeah, that's about as creative as I am. So go to my YouTube. There's a video walking you through exactly how to list your home on Airbnb. So it's pretty simple and it's free. Like that's the coolest part. Like literally costs you absolutely nothing. The money you make. So let's say that the guest pays $400. Airbnb will take a percentage of that. Let's just say take $100, and then you'll get $300. You never even know what Airbnb makes. So it's literally just like you become a partner with Airbnb. It's absolutely free for you. Outside of getting a door lock, I guess, if you don't have one of those.
And if I'm flying and my car's at home, should I rent my car to them?
Don't recommend it, right? A lot of people say, well, I have a car I'm going to. I should rent it to them. I don't recommend that. There's so much liability. If you rent it to your Airbnb guests, it's just a pain in the butt. However, there is an app called Turo, which is the Airbnb for cars. And on that, I would recommend you putting your car on, and you can rent it on Turo while you're gone. But you're not going to necessarily rent it to the same guests that are staying at your home. Again, the biggest reason is that Turo is virtually a insurance company, and so when you put your vehicle on Turo, very much the same thing. It doesn't cost you anything. Where the guest pays it, they take a percentage of it, and a lot of that percentage that they take from you is just for insurance for them. If anything does happen, then they pay out according to whatever insurance plan they have. And so this is not a discussion on Turo too much. We basically have 3 different plans, or they have 4 different plans that they basically take a rev share. You split a rev share with them, depending on how much insurance that you want. Depends on how much money that they take. So if you do want to rent your car, I'd put it on Turo, not rent it to your Airbnb guests. So there is a big difference in that.
Cool. That's my last question. That was all the questions that you guys asked.
Now, what are the questions they should be asking, Katie?
What are the questions they should be asking is a great question. I kind of posted this in my Facebook post, but like, how much would you travel if it was essentially free every single time?
That's the right question to ask. And people wonder, like, why do you guys travel so much, or how do you guys travel so much, right? Well, because it's essentially free, because we put our home on Airbnb, we put our cars on Turo, and then as long as we continue to spend lots of money through our businesses, our flights are either free or they're discounted because we use points for those, right? And outside of that, all the expenses that we would go traveling, we would have here, like food. Maybe there's extra expenses that we go because we would go do like maybe more fun things, like go to Disney World or go out to eat more. But outside of that, like the big expenses are already covered from the assets we have back at home, right? And so we're able to leverage our existing resources to allow us to, like, when we go on a trip, it's not a matter of like, do we have enough money or not? It's like, well, honestly, do we just have time, or does it fit our purpose or what we want to do in life? It's never a money question. And so I think that is the right question. It's like, where would you travel if money wasn't the thing stopping you?
Everywhere.
Right? That's the question you should be asking. What's another question?
How am I serving my community?
Yeah. So most people's like we went through all the objections, but a big objection people have is like, I don't want someone in my house, right? And when you hear that, like, does that sound like someone who is a giver, or someone who is like very selfish? And again, I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but someone who's like, I would never let someone in my house, right? I've never let someone stay in my house. Like, just by saying that, it's very, like, in my opinion, in my perception, it is a very selfish thing to say. And I've been that way. I definitely have said those type of things. And so this is my way of embodying this abundance mindset, of embodying a giving mentality. And I'm not letting someone, like someone's paying me money, of course, but it's still like, I'm giving someone an opportunity to rent my personal home at, because I'm not there. And so it just it helps serve our community in the standpoint that there is hotels that someone could buy, right? They're definitely more expensive. Yet there's Airbnbs, there's full-time Airbnbs around here that are expensive as well. Our home, because it's our personal home, like, it's not our moneymaker. It's at a what I would consider a very fair market rate, like below market rate, that somebody who is very cost conscious was like, they would take our home all day, and if there was 10 of them, that was what people take, because it's the most cost conscious one to take. It's just not an opportunity that most people have. So that's how I feel like it serves our community, is when people want to travel here, they can stay at our home at a fraction of the price they pay for our normal Airbnbs that are like studios and 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, like they're way more money than our personal home is on Airbnb. And so they're getting a great deal. As long as they can get past the fact that they're staying in someone's house as well, right? So it goes both ways.
And every time we've ever left, it is booked. That we've put it live.
Every time.
Every single time. Not once. Like, we're leaving tomorrow, and we're going to my in-laws, his parents' house, and it's up live, and we have guests checking in tomorrow.
Her in-laws are crazy.
My in-laws.
Her in-laws are crazy.
What other resources do I have access to that could generate money?
Yeah, that's the question, right? Like, this is a mindset. So we're talking about Airbnb, we're talking about Turo, we're talking about credit card points, but this is honestly how we live our life. Like, we're always looking for ways to look at things that might seem like negatives, or things that might seem like expenses, and like, how do we turn that into income? How do we turn that into asset? How do we turn a liability to an asset? And when you're able to look at that frame, it becomes a game. And that's all life is. It's like, how do I turn my biggest liability into an asset? And so, yeah, I think that's really like the fun part about it, is there's way more ways to do this than what we're sharing. Like, these are just the ways we've done it. And we're just normal, average Joe Schmoes, right? Live in Montana. That's it. I mean, that's it. So but that's the right question to ask. It's just like, how can I afford it, right? How do I make this trip happen? What resources do I already have access to that I can make this thing happen? And from that point of view, all of a sudden you're not like, oh, it's like the biggest like F word in our home, is when I do, like, just like, it's like, ugh, like, I can't, I don't know, I don't have, right? I can't afford it. Like, those things are just like, those are bad words. It's like, it's always, how can I?
Yes.
Right? How can we make this happen?
From I can't to how can I?
Yeah, it's just simple language. So I think those are the questions that people should be asking, right? Rather than all these other questions like, what do I do with my stuff, yada, yada, yada. So, but hopefully you guys got some value from that. Yeah, list your home on Airbnb, make some money. Again, it's just a mindset. And when you start doing that, you start looking at things from a different point of view. And you're able to serve your community. You're able to serve other people in a way that most people aren't willing to do. So
awesome. Any final words?
That's all I got. What do you got, Katie?
That's all I got. We appreciate you guys hopping on here, learning some things on our first official live podcast together.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching this on Facebook, let me know. If you guys are on YouTube, let me know. Like, would you guys like maybe hit that little subscribe button, like the video, something like that. Or if you're on Facebook, go to YouTube, maybe subscribe to the channel. And if you guys like this, let us know.
If you like it.
Only if you like it.
We can continue to produce. If not, that's fine too.
Yeah, if you don't like it, we'll still
produce.
We'll still produce. Yeah. So I appreciate you all.
Awesome. Until next week. Hasta la vista.